Hi guys, it's Blackie and welcome back to the channel. Today in the Ground Pounder Mastering the Canteen Cup cooking series, we're going to do another video. In this one we're going to talk about heat regulation again. Now in the past we've talked about Trangia stove, taking them to a simmer, twig fire directly underneath, boiling, heating, that type of stuff. Now this technique that I'm going to show you is one of the most useful. It's a very quick fire. It's a fire where I want to generate heat very quickly to transfer into the liquid because I'm making some sort of beverage usually. Now I could do some sort of soup like chicken noodle soup, some sort of broth or something, yes. But what we're heating up here is not thick. It has to be mostly liquid. Let me say that again. Not thick. Mostly liquid. Coffee, tea, thin soup, something like that. If you try to do this technique with chili, you're going to burn the snot out of it because it cannot regulate the heat well enough. It needs to be liquid. Now, let me get the cup out and we're going to talk about some of the dynamics and why this technique works as well as it does. Okay. Your Canteen Cup, and this is the Pathfinder Canteen Cup, for those that are asking, may have not seen it before. You've got a nice broad bottom on it. This can work for you, this can work against you. Working for you is when this is over a heat source and heat is transferring directly through this into the interior, like on a stove or something like that. Or I've raked out a bed of coals and I'm sitting it on top of it, or being upon the stove that comes with it. Either one. But it isn't the only place you can heat it. This front face is nice and broad, and it can be where the predominant heat is, especially when you've got liquid in it. Because then what happens is this front wall gets hot and the convection current gets rolling as that heat rises, the water wants to expand, heat up, drop back, come back. So you get this type of rotational boil inside the cup. So it's going to heat up quickly. So if I put a intense heat on the front face, this front corner of the cup, I will transfer heat quickly and I can heat up something quickly and efficiently. Now of course you could do this with an MSR stove, a Whisper Light stove, Coleman stove, whatever. But we're going to talk about today a fire building technique that works very good for this. And what we're going to do is, out of that whole cup, I want this front part and over to this side a little bit to heat up. I do not want this part of the cup or the back where the handles are to receive any heat. That's because once this is hot and I've transferred heat through this material into the water and heated this up, I want to be able to pick this up and drink from this section of the cup like this and not burn my mouth. If I've heated the whole front of this cup up in a fire and all the way around flames are just licking out of it and everything else, and I pull it off the fire, what's going to happen when I go to take a swig? Yeah, ask me how I know. So I was taught this technique by an old Marine on a frosty morning in South Alabama when we were rabbit hunting together. And we were easing along down this fence row in big old huge sage field, having a little friendly competition on who could get the most bunnies. He was using a 357 shooting 38s, and I was shooting a cap and ball 36 revolver. And he had gotten 3 and I had gotten 2. And we decided to stop and heat up something to drink right quick. So we had built this little fire technique that I'm about to show you. And I'm not paying attention to the fire. I've got my head on a swivel. I'm looking to see if another bunny is going to come out of this sage and I'm going to be able to tie the score. So I wasn't doing my due diligence. So it got nice and hot. I got the hot chocolate and I stirred it up, and I'm looking over here and I picked it up and I brought it up to my mouth, and that fire had been around this side of that cup. And the minute I touched my lip, I got blisters on my lip. That's how hot it was. So he showed me this technique. Now let's talk through the technique like we do, and then we're going to actually do it. 1, this great big broad bottom of the cup, if I sit it on the ice cold ground in the winter and try to build a fire in front of it, it's not going to be as efficient because it's in contact with that cold ground, and that's going to take more energy to warm that ground up, see, and therefore let the bottom of this cup get warm to get what it wants. So I want to elevate this cup. So he cut 2 green sticks and put on either side underneath it, just like that. We're going to demonstrate this in a minute. This makes an air gap between it. He angled the sticks, not straight, but angled them toward this front corner a little bit, so that as the air was drawn through underneath here, as the fire went, it would intensify the fire right here where that fuel and all put up. Air's coming under the cup and rolling up, so it's like blowing on it. As the heat is rising, it's sucking fresh air, so it's fanning the flame right here in this corner, and so it's going to heat up this corner. And this is going to be for a right-handed person. If I was left-handed, you'd reverse it, okay? But he put it that way with the 2 sticks. That gets it off the ground, so the cold ground is not robbing heat. Next, he's going to pile firewood up here after he builds a fire and alternate them in a pattern that's going to look kind of like this, where each stick is going to be laid down like that in front of it, and that V is going to be set. So that V, when you're looking at the top, is going to be right on this point right here. So that heat is going to intensify in this side of the cup and going to get that rolling action going fairly quickly. The fire is going to be built with small, straight sticks. Now let's talk about the firewood a second. The firewood you want for this particular fire is pencil-sized sticks. And you see all that funky stuff? You don't want that. You want a relatively straight stick. That way when I go to lacing them together up there, this isn't interfering and pushing things off and falling off to the side. So snap it off. Get rid of it. You want straight sticks. Okay? Pinky size on up to thumb size sticks is all you want. Now the object of this game is I'm going to put down my 2 base sticks. Say something about that big, and I'll break this one in half to do it. I'll sit them on the ground. I'll then lay my tinder to ignite right there. Set the cup down with the water and everything ready to go. I'm going to ignite my tinder, and I'm going to start piling the sticks up there to catch the flame and spread it up. This should not take long to do. This should be a very quick lay of overlapping one stick on top of the other right quick. The object of the game here is this is going to generate an intense heat right up against the front face of this canteen and heat it up quickly. But this isn't long burning. I'm not building a campfire. I'm building a small twig fire. So that by the time this burns down to coals, this water is coffee hot, hot chocolate hot, whatever. Should take no more than 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes total, and this will be up to heat. I should then be able to pick this canteen cup up, and be able to swirl it around just a second to make sure it's fully integrated and be able to drink out of it without burning my mouth. Meanwhile, this should burn down to ash. By the time I get done drinking this should be out, nothing but ashes that I can then extinguish very quickly, bury, and move on. I'm not stopping. I'm just stopping for a quick drink, a quick heat. I am not building a campfire for the day. So I'm not going to take the time to build a true campfire. This twig fire is going to be just to heat this up quickly. Okay, let's build it. Okay, I've cleaned out my area right here. This is where I'm going to do it. I got my 2 sticks that give me about a 1/2 inch clearance off the ground. I'm going to set them on the ground just wide enough that the canteen cup is going to comfortably sit on it. And I want it angled toward where the fire is going to be. So kind of like this. Okay? Now I'm going to get my tinder and I'm going to put on the other side of it. Okay, so I'm going to use one of my bird's nests I made up with jute the other day. We're going to talk about that in an upcoming video. And let's see. Fire kit, no. Fire kit, lower. There we go. And I got my fire right there. Now, I've got all my wood already processed, ready to go. Right here. all the way down to small little bitty ones. Okay, setting my canteen cup out of the way, put that right there. Ignite that. Go ahead and select several of my smallest ones. Lay up here across it to get it going. Just like that. And I want this front point, the one that's in the heat. Now I start layering up sticks, laying it up against the cup, just like this. That'll give it plenty of air. Give it an opportunity to get going. But notice as I've done it that this section right here and my handles have nothing to do with this heat. In fact, I'll bend them around a little bit. This whole half of the canteen cup back here is completely out of the heat. Here it starts sizzling already on the bottom. It's already started down there on the bottom bubbling. Controlling your fire, making sure it's not going to get out of hand. Make sure you ain't getting no sparks. I'm getting no sparks coming out of this, just heat. Also notice that the wind is going this way, from this side to this side, so I'm not in the smoke. And there's very little smoke because I selected hardwood sticks that were straight. Now we just give it a minute. You see how it wanted to fall away from the cup? You pull it back toward the cup. Have your stick ready. Pull it back toward. Keep piling it up against the cup. By using these long sticks, I can grab these ends out here on the edge to keep rolling it back. I want to keep that fire in contact with that front edge of that cup to at maximum speed transfer heat. Now if the fire wants to migrate around to this side, take your stick and start pushing those sticks and push the fire back over toward the front. We want it on this front edge right here. We do not want it past this corner this way, and we do not want it past the center line right there, because we want this to cook, to heat up and all, but not heat up the cup in areas we don't want, like our handles. So ever so often, run the poker. Give her a quick poke and then pull that fire back up against the cup. Keep them coals up here, right where you want them. Okay, my water is now the right temperature. I'm now going to add hot chocolate. Pull out of my kit my little folding spoon, spork I should say. Stir up my hot chocolate. Okay, my hot chocolate is now ready. it has sat there and got nice and warm. We're right where we want to be. Now I have focused my fire on this far wall. I've now let it burn around this way just a little bit. But right now, pulling these handles back, grabbing hold. Hearing that? Hiss, hiss. And yet, right here is cool. I can drink that right now because right there is still cool. This side of the cup is hot, but this side back here close to me and this hole right to the left of my handle is cool enough to drink out of. Now if I turn that thing around like this and go to drink on that front corner right there, it's going to burn the snot out of me. But right there is safe. Now, setting my stuff down, now I have just a bed of coals. Here, I'm going to spread them out a little to lose some of that heat. Make sure no sticks are still on fire, so to speak. And I would sit and drink my hot chocolate or my coffee or drink my beef broth or whatever while this went out. And it will go out in just a minute. You just got to spread it out and let it cool. Lose the heat. If you lose heat, you lose the fire. Then before I go, I'll rake all them together and I'll souse them with water to completely drown them. And we'll do that in a minute. But right now, let's talk about this cup. Okay. That front side of the cup's nice and warm. I don't want to drink that, but on this side right here, just to the side of the thing, I can pick it up and drink. So, to recap, use very small wood, straight sticks that I can stack up. 2, put insulation between you and the ground, something to lift it up, let air flow under, and also to keep it from the cold of the ground robbing you of ability. 3, very small fire, focused on that front face, keep it hot right there so that heat transfers quickly and does not melt out, so to speak. That transfers the heat but does not fade, I should say. 3, realize that by putting that heat on this corner, that this corner back here will still be cool enough to drink from. And therefore, the most common complaint I hear from guys is, I picked up my coffee and I burned the snot out of my mouth. If I pour boiling hot coffee into a cold cup, I'll be able to drink a minute before that cup warms up. On the other hand, if this cup's been in a boiling hot fire, and I go to drink out of it, I got to wait for the cup to cool down, and then the coffee's cold. So plan ahead. This is a technique. It's managing the fire, managing the heat, like we've talked about before. So what can I do with this? I can heat up broth, soups, stuff that is watery. I can heat up quickly like this. Chicken broth, something like that. Chicken noodle soup, something like that. Chili or something? No, because it'll burn before it can cook. The heat's too intense on one side, and my fire's not going to burn very long. This whole thing is taking me 15 minutes, tops, gathering the wood and everything. This is what my ashes and coals look like right now. That's all that's left. Now I'll let that percolate for a couple minutes while I finish drinking this. And then I will fill my canteen cup back full of water and I'll drown it to make sure I don't have a fire hazard. That would allow me to simply and easily drown those coals, then bury those coals, and then rake everything back off it, not have to worry about fire, and I'm on my way. I don't have to stop and build a big fire. And I don't have to waste a lot of time and energy just to get a hot drink in me. And, most importantly, I don't burn my mouth. That's the biggie. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have, please put like, share, and subscribe down there. I'd really appreciate it. And there will be more coming in the Canteen Cup series. Next time, we're going to do bacon, eggs, and grits with the Canteen Cup. That's the next one, coming next week. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.